What's up, YouTube? We are back at it again. I got a lot to do, so we're going to get right into it. In this video, we are going to be pulling everything off the old 1.8T motor, putting it on the new motor. I have to source a clutch. We got to get that on. If you haven't seen, we got this one painted, and we just started it for the first time last night after having it all apart. The spark plug holes were all full of water and the coils were shorted out, which was making it run rough. So we got this thing running, it's running good, but we need a bunch of parts for it. I got to go to the junkyard, get door parts, all that. So this thing's on hold. We are going to work on this. I am going to start pulling this manifold, get this turbo off, get the new turbo mounted, everything plumbed in. We've got to swap to the new painted intake. All that's going on this motor. So I think I'm going to pull everything off this motor, and then I will put this on the stand and we'll put everything on it. Simple. Engine mount and the bracket. We know that's different. I don't know if the engine mounts are the same or not, but oh boy, these are not easy to get to when the turbo's on. I mean, you can see in there the nut pretty much rubs on the actual flute, so you can't get a wrench in there, you can't get anything in there, especially with a turbo on it. I totally forgot how we did this with the engine inside the car. Maybe that's me just whiny. All right, I need to pull this flywheel, and then I'm going to start on this side of the motor. I think I've pretty much salvaged everything I need or may need off this motor. I took brackets, engine mounts, all that. I don't know. I would assume these engine mounts are the same, but it's out of an 04 A4, so I'm not taking any chances. I am going to get this switched over. We've got to pull this intake, get our intake on there, ditch the fuel rail, swap motor mounts, get my accessory brackets on there, and we got to do the timing belt real quick. Threw some paint on it. We have this really hard tractor paint. I cleaned it up. I brake cleaned it, got most of the grease off. I didn't try to make it perfect. It's not a show car, but it's nice and coated now. I cleaned all my mating surfaces. I got a new O-ring here. We got our new gaskets for our intake, and I've got new manifold gaskets, turbo gaskets, all that. Even went ahead and bought new studs for the exhaust manifold. Check those out. That's gonna look awesome. So it's gonna have all new fresh hardware. I've got to put all of this stuff on this motor. I still haven't done the timing belt yet. I just spent most of my time cleaning it up, getting it ready. I want it to be clean when it goes in the engine bay and, you know, at least look better. There's no sense in pulling the engine, swapping it out, and it looking the same, if not worse. So I'm happy with this. I think it's ready to start going together, honestly. This motor is a little bit different. This here, where it bolts up before, this here, where it bolts up here, before, my older engine just had a neck that came down for your coolant pipe. This one here goes up to this one on top of the radiator. This one here is a lot more sophisticated. Basically, this whole conjunction, I think, is on the back of my other motor, and they put it right here where the thermostat goes. So that goes there, and now I have a pipe coming up, which I did not have on my other motor. But I've looked it over 100 times. It's 99% the same. The only difference is this hose here. It should just go in there and everything should work as is. This being a 2004, it does have some revisions done to it, but predominantly they're all the same. I've swapped a few of these motors, and the more modern ones just have, you know, more sensors and a couple different plugs here and there. I also need to get this squared away. We took that off and swapped it onto another engine for testing purposes. But what do you think of this engine, guys? Does it not look good? I am extremely happy with it. It's getting late already. I probably should get heading out. When we come back, I want to get all the manifolds on this thing, the turbo hanging off this thing, get this thing done, and then we can throw it in the car. guys, that's about all I have time for in this video. This thing is coming together. I love the way it looks. That fresh turbo, these new studs and nuts look amazing on there. I've got about an hour and a half of quarter turning the rest of those top ones on, which not a big deal, it's just time consuming. And I'm waiting on a fitting from my oil. I need a restrictor fitting, but it's coming along. And then we will throw the engine mounts on it and be good to go. I didn't swap over the timing belt because you can still see the contact. The water pump's new. I can tell this is all new, so I'm not even gonna do it. Just doesn't make sense to. But yeah, look at that motor, guys. That thing is gonna look so fresh in there. I wish I would have painted the cam gear, but it is what it is. Kind of looks cool, that color. Also, I am trying to find the piece that goes in here because the automatic cranks are different than the manual cranks. So you need a different throwout bearing, or you got to do something different here. So I thought I knew what I was going to do, but then I found conflicting information. So I really need to figure that out. We need to get that oil fitting, get the tranny on. The clutch should be here this week. So we should be throwing this engine in soon. If you made it this far, I appreciate you watching. Tell me what you think about the engine. How does it look? I mean, this thing should sit comfortable right at about 325 horsepower. I know it's not a lot, but it's a lot in that car. This thing's gonna rip. It's gonna spin tires and do everything I want it to. So with that, I'm out of here, guys. Peace.